Sarah? All right. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Emmaus Borough Council meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll have personal appeals now. If anyone has a personal appeal, approach the podium. I see none. Community minute. Somebody want to talk about the old-fashioned Christmas in the Triangle?
I'll talk about one of the things first, though. On Friday night, I attended the library. They had a book sale with. They also had a person playing some music. They had some snacks. They were selling some bookmarks and things to benefit the library. It was a nice crowd. It was a nice event. I also attended the Historical Society, and they had several choirs there. Very well attended event as well, and it really showcased some of our library in the historical location. I think Wes was at the Triangle last night, so I'll let him talk about that one because I see him waiting.
I think, Terry, you seem like you were.
She's not feeling well. She can't talk, so.
I will finish that then. Yeah, no, I mean, so, the fear is always that whenever you change the date of anything, that it's not going to be attended as well as it would of the original date, but I don't think it affected it at all. There was a constant mist in the air, which in some ways kind of had a neat feel to it, especially when the snow machines kicked in, that it really felt like it was actually snowing, just 20 degrees warmer than snow temperature. So it was well attended. It's great to see that kind of community spirit for our town year after year after year.
And some of the local businesses were open. David's Italian Market there, they seem to have a nice little pickup of business there, and some of the others around the Triangle. Got pizza afterwards, my family did. Our Meadows was moving and churning and burning there, so also good for our businesses. So I think our Main Street partners did a great job with that event.
Great. Anyone else? All right. We have no special presentations tonight. Reading of the minutes. Would someone like to recommend or make a motion to approve the council meeting minutes from November 19th, 2018? Councilman Dufresne, seconded by Councilman Anders. Any additions, corrections, or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. Decisions on bids, we have one on the sanitary sewer manhole rehabilitation project, and I will read what's underneath the title of action. These are the bids for the first small water and sewer grant we received. The recommendation is to take the bid from Enrich Incorporated with the provision that we will take the base bid plus adders of number 1, 2, and 3 for a total of $358,915. This will take care of between 130 and 160 manholes. The way the bid was written was that we do not have to do the full amount, as we will do what the budgeted amount allows. That's why the bids were itemized. Hanover Engineering has worked with Enrich in the past on approximately 5 or 6 different projects and have always been satisfied with their work without any major issues. Therefore, Hanover's recommendation is to accept the bid contingent upon final reviews and approvals from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Borough Solicitor, and Borough Engineer. With that all being said, it was also recommended from the committee to approve the bid. So would somebody like to make a motion to approve the sanitary sewer manhole rehabilitation project for Enrich Incorporated? Councilman Schubsta, seconded by Councilman Anders.
That includes the adders?
What's up?
Yes, what I just
Yeah,
read.
it includes the ad, yeah.
And I'll second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. Under communications, we have 3 requests for reappointments. We have William Huber from 626 Chestnut Street requesting reappointment to the Civil Service Commission with a term expiring January 1st of 2019. Would somebody,
That's when his current term expires.
yeah, so how long are their terms?
25.
January 25, January 125.
All right, so would somebody like,
It's a 6-year term.
Well, a normal term is 6 years,
Yeah.
staggered.
so that'd be 2025.
Yep.
Would somebody like to make that motion? Councilman Dufresne, second. Councilwoman McManaman. Questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. We have Carrie Schreppel, 651 Walnut Street, requesting reappointment to the Emmaus Arts Commission.
3-year term.
3-year term, so it would be February 7th of 2022. Would somebody like to make that motion? Councilman Barrett, seconded by Councilman Schubsta. Questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. All right, David Cole, 999 Little Lehigh Drive, requesting reappointment to the Emmaus Library Board,
3 years.
with a term expiring January 1st of 2022. Would somebody like to make that motion? Councilman Dufresne, seconded by Councilman Barrett. Questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. All right. Yeah, I know. I'll do that one last. Bear with me here. I have a couple emails we got that one of them has to be entered into the record. Well, actually, I'll read that one first. We received a letter from Brian Afflerbach of 1660 Shimerville Road. Pretty much upset over our trash collection. I guess at one point, recycling and trash were missed 3 weeks in a row. And since 2017, he called 16 times for trash or recycling being missed. So, and I'm sure you had conversations with him, Shane.
Yeah, he and I met, and I encouraged him to write a letter. Could you forward that email to me? I do not have a copy of
I will do that.
that.
Let me do that right now.
Yeah, well, I had told him to send it to you guys. But, so that way we have it on the record at the building. But I actually gave him the statistics, so I knew what the numbers were.
So I just
but-
sent it.
It's a legitimate issue. It's,
Absolutely.
that's, he's contacted us 16 different times, and JP Mascaro has 15 contacts from him. And, it's been a lot of misses. He is at the very end of the borough, so it may be an easy miss, but quite honestly, after the second or third time, it should have been corrected. It hasn't, so I understand his frustration, completely understand it.
All right, we received a letter from Aaron DeLong, the chairman of the Emmaus Main Street program, basically thanking everyone for the old-fashioned Christmas festival. And without reading it, it's rather lengthy, but she covers, Public Works and the people in the Main Street program, and she just, anyhow, is very appreciative of everybody's contribution. All right, that's it for as far as my emails. Let me get back into the. All right, so I received some on my desk here. We received a letter from the Emmaus Moravian Church, the Church of Board of Elders, and it's to the Emmaus Borough. We would like to express our thanks and gratitude for loaning us the nativity scene. While we are saddened that the nativity cannot be displayed on borough property, we believe that the grounds of Emmaus Moravian Church are a suitable and visible location for this beautiful display. We are very thankful for the borough workers, Sam and Jay. They were friendly, courteous, and accommodating What a wonderful experience it was to see the Nativity put in place. Thank you once again for allowing us to use the Nativity. We are grateful our worshipers and community members will be able to see it in all its glory. Merry Christmas. So I'll enter that. Just a side note, I was at my church and one of my members came up to me unsolicited and said how great the nativity scene looked at the Moravian church. So I think people are noticing it. They said it's much easier to see there versus the library. So
And you know, that's a centerpiece in town as you drive through. I mean, it's a location that, you know,
Well,
there's pictures of. And
And there's not a thing that the threatened lawsuit can say about it.
Mhm. Absolutely. So, great, looks good there, and awesome.
thank you. All right. Madam Mayor received a thank you card. Dear Mayor, 911 is never a call you ever want to make, but when it's needed, you just hope the people who come are just the Emmaus crews that we have met as we needed them for two individual hospital trips plus transport. Each time they showed up with the utmost professionalism, but also their compassion in helping to put my dad and us at ease. We appreciate their service to our community, but wanted to recognize each of them for not only being excellent in what they do, but also the comfort given to our family. We're glad they serve us in Emmaus. Respectfully, Trout, Warman, and Yandel families. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Oh, you want that for the record?
Yeah. That can go to Chief Hoffman tomorrow morning at staff meeting.
All right. All right, I saved the best for last. It's also the longest. Emmaus Borough Council. When you appointed me to fill a vacated term in early January, you were aware that I would likely only be available for 6 to 9 months of that term, with the intended goal of providing whatever institutional, you missed an S then. So institutional knowledge and experience I could offer as we welcome 2 new council members to the board. As is common for construction, our new home took longer than expected to build, and I was able to serve almost a full 12 months of that term. However, as of this coming week, my primary residence will no longer be in Emmaus, but rather at our new house just outside the borough in Lower Macungie. I am therefore resigning effective at the end of the day, today, December 3rd, 2018. You can rest assured that my involvement and commitment to the borough will not change. It will just have a different role. Our businesses continue to thrive here in the heart of the downtown and will remain at our Chestnut Street location for many more years to come. I will continue to raise funds for borough events and projects through the Halloween in Emmaus 5K race, and I will continue to volunteer and participate in the ever-growing list of borough activities that take place each year. I want to thank all the current and past council members who I have had the privilege of working with. Your ability to openly debate and disagree, but never hold a grudge or engage in any sort of political mudslinging is admirable and is how a healthy and good government is supposed to function. Your passion for making Emmaus a better place has in fact made Emmaus a better place. Governments across this great country should strive to emulate what we have going on here in Emmaus. As we well know, the effects of our hard work would not be possible without the excellent workforce within our departments and the staff and management that has been assembled. Our management from top to bottom is as dedicated and knowledgeable as any. They work with employees who care about the job and do it with pride, knowing the people of Emmaus have a standard and expectation that must be upheld. Thank you to all of you for the many hours you have committed at all hours of the day and night and making us look good on council. My final thank you is to our residents. When I decided to run for office back in 2004, I was 24 and really had no idea what to expect. I wanted to be as prepared as possible, so I visited every home in the borough to learn about what you wanted from your town and what you expected from its leadership. My biggest concern was that you would dismiss me as just some kid and what would he know? Yet, I quickly realized this was not the case at all and that the people of this borough are incredibly welcoming and engaging. It was also clear that they love the town they live in and simply want to see Emmaus prosper and keep up with the times. They know they have something special here. I have enjoyed every bit of this privilege you have given me and look forward to continuing my service as a local business owner and property owner. Thank you for allowing me to serve you for 13 wonderful years. Sincerely, Wesley R. Barrett. I will save my comments for president's business. If anyone else would like to speak, they can speak now.
Exactly.
I mean, he kind of got us on short notice.
I know.
I didn't even have time to prepare anything.
That's all we needed. Short
I have
notice
some
to
things to
speak.
say, but I don't want to say it in front of his wife.
Oh, come on.
It is nice to see, though, that Wes's wife and children are in attendance. And
His better half.
I think we will talk a little later.
Okay.
That works for me.
Does anyone else have communication to bring forward? All right, hearing none, Borough Engineers report. We have none Solicitors report.
Just briefly, I had the pleasure, along with Shane, of having a trial that went from 8 to 4:30 on the day before Thanksgiving. I'm pleased to report Shane was excellent on the stand, and I think the facts support our position. We finished our brief as of last Friday. All the briefs are in. I expect a decision fairly promptly. There is one other matter, though, that we will have to address, and that involves the Fireman's Relief Fund and the mess-up that was caused by the Pennsylvania Labor Relations Board, even though they'll try to place that on us, even though it wasn't our fault. But that is, will eventually become a difficult and hot item. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Unfinished business, part 1, we have nothing. New business, we have ordinance number 1184. This is the first reading and is an ordinance levying taxes for the fiscal year 2019 for the Borough of Emmaus at the rate of 6.7615 mils pursuant to section 1310 of the Borough Code of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and a revenue neutral levy based on the 2013 Lehigh County tax reassessment split between the general fund tax of 5.6654 mils and a fire fund tax of 1.0961 mils. So that is the first reading. Would somebody like to place that in a form of a motion? Councilman Dufresne, second by Councilman Schubsta. Questions or discussion? Comments? Hearing none, it's a roll call vote. Councilman Dufresne.
Aye.
Councilwoman Baumgartner.
Aye.
Councilman Barrett.
Aye.
Councilwoman McManaman.
Aye.
Councilman Schubsta.
Aye.
Councilman Anders.
Aye.
Councilman Ladenburg. Aye. There are 7 ayes. Unfinished business part 2. We will have the second reading of ordinance 1183 at our next meeting, December 17th. Does anybody have anything to bring forward? Items that are not on the agenda? All right, hearing none, Mayor's report.
I have nothing to report this evening. Progress.
Thank you. Committee reports. Public Works Committee, Chairman Anders.
Nothing for official action. Our next meeting is December 10th at 3:30 p.m., and I'll report progress.
Thank you. Health, Sanitations, and Codes Committee, Chairman Schubsta.
Yes, we have nothing for official action. Our committee notes are there if you have any questions. Our next meeting is scheduled for December 26th at 4:30. Shane, have we decided, we're keeping that? We talked about it in the meeting.
Yeah, I don't think we decide one way or another. Maybe talk amongst yourself after this meeting
Okay.
and make a decision.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, obviously didn't realize that's the day after Christmas again.
That would be the 26th, yes.
Scheduled that anyway.
Shane's gonna come and bring us presents that day.
Yeah,
Big
I have
trash
presents
cans.
for you.
Okay, so we'll talk amongst ourselves and find out if we have anything that needs to be discussed on that day. Other than that, I'll report progress.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation Committee, Chairwoman Baumgartner.
Tomorrow's, tomorrow's meeting is canceled, and We will schedule a meeting in January. We just need to determine the date still. Report progress.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Chairman Dufresne.
Nothing for official action tonight. Our next meeting's December 12th at 9:15, progress.
General Administration Committee is myself, and our next meeting is this Thursday at 9 a.m. Progress. Budget and Finance Committee, Chairman Barrett.
All right, we'll start. There's a few items, and we will get to the budget, and our borough manager will give a better explanation than I will for this one. So, but the first item is our bill list, Resolution 2018-39, and I'll place that in the form of a motion.
There's a motion by Councilman Barrett. Is there a second? Councilman Dufresne. Questions or discussion on the bill list? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Another item that we have is, as we all know, we have accumulated a number of items over the years that are no longer worth keeping, and we are going to put them up for auction. There is a resolution attached. There are some items listed. There are numerous more items, and I'll place Resolution 2018-48 in the form of a motion.
It's a motion by Councilman Barrett. Is there a second? Councilman Shripsta. Questions or discussion?
I finally get to bid on the bucket truck.
Are you going to do that?
I am.
We're still looking for the key for it, but you
Oh,
got
I'm not bidding on it. I'm
You
sorry.
can push it.
I will say, it's quite an extensive list.
It's a very big
Um,
list.
And if you keep finding more stuff, maybe you can empty
It
out
just
the
keeps
basement.
showing up. Honest to goodness.
I mean, it's good. It's good that we're finally doing this after many years of
So
accumulating.
there are a couple things that are noteworthy that you need to realize on there. First of all, there's obviously a number of vehicles. We added 2 vehicles, and they're on the proposed resolution. We added 2 vehicles. That I was kind of surprised at. First of all, Mr. Dyschello indicated during budget discussions that the one dump truck will not pass inspection. So that's now on the list. But secondly, which really kind of surprised me, and we had a lot of discussion about it at the administrative level, was we put the grader on there as well. And that grader is probably valued at over $20,000, so we'll put a minimum on it. But the bottom line is we've used that thing twice in the last 10 years. And so at what point is it just going to sit there and rust away, and then you lose all value that you're trying to sell it for? Because and those 2 times, I think it's worthwhile noting that one was to help plow snow because we had vehicles down and it was the only thing that could get through the road, and the second time was to do some grading on a dirt area out behind the compost site. So they've used skid steers and loaders and other things to do that kind of work. The grader, they feel, is something that is just taking up space rather than being functional at this point. So I sent you an email this morning. I amended your resolution to add a little bit more fire equipment on it. Low end stuff, it's $50 type of items. But also, there's a boat in the fire department, just in case we have to do a water rescue on the pond, I guess.
Yeah, I've seen it.
They've
But-
used it.
But again, that boat, it spends more time getting things thrown inside of it for storage than it's ever even seen the rain, let alone, anything else. So that is going up for auction as well. Go ahead, Mr.
Yeah, I just want to ask, how are we advertising all of this, since it's not like an old antique auction?
Yeah,
This
I
is
know.
like
So the auctioneer is
specialized
taking care of
equipment.
all that. He does municipal auctions.
Okay,
He's done, he just did
Summers, right?
a school auction, Summers, yeah.
Okay.
So that's the reason why we contacted him, is because he does do municipal auctions. So there's a little bit of a different clientele than the guy that's selling the antique lamp.
Yep.
We're also going to advertise it on our end, as far as on the website and Facebook and things like that. And we'll probably even reach out to, I'll probably send an email out to the municipal managers across the valley,
that would
just
be
for the fact that, that grader might be of interest. The
Is that grader really a 1980?
Yeah,
And that's only used twice?
in the last
No, in
10
the
years.
last
I
10
said.
Okay.
Yeah. It used to be used often,
Okay.
but, you know, they make equipment more efficient, bigger, better.
Okay.
You can buy it.
So I know that a couple municipalities are interested in the leaf boxes. So, you know, there are some municipalities that would be interested in some of this item. So we'll send out some emails to some of our municipalities, even some contractors. Some of those dump trucks would be good just to do some yard jockeying. I mean, we have everything to like the old fire chief's vehicle to
Yeah, I saw that on there.
blown engines and old police cars. That quite honestly, if you're a mechanic, the bodies on some of them are in good shape. Like the one Dodge Charger, there's not an ounce of rust on it. The guts are not so good, but you know it's a nice looking vehicle, so somebody might buy it. We'll at least set a minimum of scrap value for those that are completely blown up and not operable. We had to tow probably a third to a half of them. But we'll at least set a minimum of scrap value because, you know, if you're getting less than scrap value, then you're not making a dime off of it. If we sell for scrap value, you know, if we get scrap value out of it, at least we know we're getting something. So, but we'll set a minimum on the grader and a couple other items. For some reason, they seem to think that bucket truck's going to be one of the hot.
Well,
ticket
yeah, it's a
items.
1969, it's collectable.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's
it'll
old.
be a hot ticket item
If you
if we
collect
can find
that
a key.
kind of thing.
Hey, where are you gonna find one?
So that's it in a nutshell. But if you want a fire helmet,
I saw that.
we have like 40 of them. If you want an air mask, we have like 200 of them. If you want an air bottle to go with your air mask, we have 20 of those. We have
Should we call Nate?
we have 25 toilets.
Nate Brown?
If you need another toilet at home, we have. I'm telling you, we have shelving units. We have everything. Everything that the Rodale family sold inside that building, they left there. So that's all part of the sale. Literally hundreds of cubicles. It's all in there. So we'll see what we can get sold.
Is he gonna get it all done in one day?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we didn't vote yet. That was just conversation. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There's 7 ayes.
All right, Shane, since you're doing such a great job at talking, I'm going to turn.
No, you know what? I'm done. You can go from here, Wes.
So we obviously have a budget with a quite extensive list of things in it, and I think it would be best explained by our borough manager to give a nice synopsis so the public understands what's changed, what we're doing, why we're doing the things we're doing.
All right, so, as you know, you just voted on the tax ordinance, for the first reading, so we need to understand what that means. So I'll go through the notable budget items. You want me to go through the whole thing here and explain it?
Well,
The
you have 'em
notables I
bulleted.
think are very important, and also just an understanding. I mean, some people will only look at the initial number and will still get that, but if they have an understanding of why we're looking at a tax increase, I think that's very helpful to the person that wants to be rational and honest about why this budget looks the way it does.
Okay. So I think the first thing that's notable that we have to understand is going back to last year's union negotiations and the strategy that council took with that, and obviously I was very much a part of that. We looked at what our long-term costs were versus trying to get things under control. And so when we negotiated union contracts, we kept that in mind. The fact that post-retirement benefits were still there for new hires, for current hires. And our OPEB study showed, how many tens of millions of dollars that was going to cost the taxpayers for forever. And so we knew that was something we had to address. And we knew that, pension costs were something that we had to address. And we knew that we had to start getting our employees to pay towards their health care more and towards their pension more and start putting in their share. As a matter of fact, most of our employees up until this contract didn't pay anything towards their health care. But when we did all this, we knew that there were short-term costs that were going to be incurred. And so pay raises are contractual with 4 unions. and benefits are contractual for unions. So we knew coming into another fiscal year that we were going to see those costs, and we're seeing those costs. So what we've seen is from 2018 to 2019, overall salary expenses increased by $355,000, a little bit more than that. Healthcare costs increased by
11.1?
yeah, this thing moved again. Total overall cost increase increased by 212,677. So between healthcare and salaries, we're looking at a $560,000 increase in expenses that there's no avoiding that. Those are contractual. So what do we do to address that? And so we'll talk a little bit about that, but the other thing is you got to remember pension costs remain steady. They did actually go down by $45,000, but they're still hovering around the $1 million. The overall budget actually decreased. However, we've spent the last 2 years spending down our surpluses, and we've talked about that in budget discussions over the last couple of years that this was inevitable. You keep spending more than you're bringing in, sooner or later you're going to run out of that savings. And so that's really where we are. We've held off on tax increases in the general fund by spending down that surplus, but spending that surplus money on major items in the town, and that's important to know. We have funded major I&I projects. The stormwater issues, the MS4 stuff. We're dealing with. Capital issues, road projects. We spent a lot of money on road projects in the last couple of years. We're dealing with new labor in the fire department. We're dealing with legal issues that we wish we wouldn't, with the lawsuit from JP Mascaro and some other personnel type of things that we saw increases in costs on. That quite honestly, unfortunately, is part of doing business. Engineer costs have been high because of the different projects that we're dealing with. But we're doing projects nonetheless. We had the 2nd Street Reservoir. We have the 10th Street Culvert. We can keep naming the improvements that we're making. We had to put we put a roof on the library because that's been leaking, and not to mention some of the other items that we've had to deal with infrastructure-wise. When we looked at the 2019 budget going into it, we knew there were going to be some concerns and there were going to be some issues. And we cut the living daylights out of that budget. From what the department managers were asking for and what we need to what we ended up with, we cut that budget tremendously. Our overall budget difference between this year and next year, it actually goes down by $751,000. But the surplus is gone. And that's really the issue. We've even our last budget meeting, we cut another $100,000 out of the budget, and I think it's important to note that we got to the point where we were trimming off. There was no fat left. Like, we were trimming the muscle off. We walked that line of, do we want to keep the same level of service that we're providing as citizens with our emergency services, with our public works department, and we had those conversations, and those were tough conversations to have. We are still moving forward. We are still doing essential projects. We're addressing the I&I stuff. We have some grant money to do some park study work, some manhole projects. And we're still moving forward. We still need to buy police cars. We need to replace dump trucks. We need to make sure that our departments are equipped with the things that are essential for them to function, and the budget provides for that. But at the end of the day, there is a 0.79 mil tax increase. And what does that mean? What it means is it's about a 13% tax increase. The average home value in Emmaus is valued at $161,100. that average tax increase for that homeowner will be about $127. That's nothing to sneeze at. That's tough. There was nothing fun about this process. You guys know that. We spent hours and hours and hours in this room debating items, cutting out things that, quite honestly, none of us felt comfortable with cutting. But at the end of the day, to keep functioning, we had to propose a tax increase. There's no change in sewer or water rates in this budget. There's no change in the fire tax in this budget. It's all in general fund. We are going to be proposing an increase in the refuse rate at the next meeting. We just need to finalize a few things before we really even, I think, talk about that, but that's at the next meeting. We're going to have that discussion. But I think, though, that there's some things that we need to keep in mind. First of all, you say, well, why are our taxes what they are in Emmaus, right? I mean, we always ask that question, like, why can't we have, pay the same amount of taxes as they do in Lower Macungie? Well, look at what we provide our citizens. Lower Macungie and the townships have the pleasure of being so big that, the new development in businesses and the wage taxes and things like that helps balance their budget to the point where they have, like, their debates are, should we put AstroTurf on the baseball field? Our debates are, should we keep the baseball field open? And it's a different level of conversation that we have. But what's most notable is we provide services that less than 1% of Pennsylvania municipalities actually provide comprehensively. It's us and the two cities, Bethlehem and Allentown, that actually provide the same exact services to our residents. There are no other municipalities that have paid ambulance, paid fire, 24/7 police, 24/7 emergency service protection, public works, codes, parks,
Own water system.
our own water system, and we own and operate the sewer lines. It's less than 1% of municipalities in Pennsylvania that actually have that robust of a government operation. And the feedback that we've always received from our citizens is they want to keep those ambulance services. They want to keep the same level of police services. They appreciate and respect, the fire service. And, there wasn't this huge outcry from the public when we went to court and had the labor issues over whether or not they should be paid or whether they should be volunteer. I think overall the public said, we got to do what we got to do to protect the community. Well, there's cost to that. And that's tough. It's tough when you sit in this room and have to decide what cost is more important than another cost. And you had to do that. And if anybody out there thinks that's easy, boy, I invite you to sit in this chair. Because you guys spent hours and hours having those debates. Long-term savings, we save tens of millions of dollars. Short-term, though, you're seeing the expenses from that. And really, it's tough to swallow when you can't control necessarily without cutting services some of those increases. And I think in a nutshell, trying to wrap up what 30 hours of budget workshops consisted of, I think that's probably as much as I can give you. Unless you...
I think that's excellent, and I think the clear distinction that you drew to our municipality versus others is that we truly are unique, and we just provide significantly more to our residents because they demand it. And one other comment, and I don't think you used the term, but I know you alluded to it by the tens of millions that we save long-term, is that everything in the budgets, I would say solidly in the last 10 years have had a solid focus on efficiencies. And it's not to say that efficiencies weren't a major effort previously to that, but the efficiencies that we've taken on now are major efficiencies, things that save hundreds of thousands of dollars each year. Compound that over time, and these aren't just little $5,000 savings or things. These are major things that we've done. We've completely institutionalized how we do change how we institutionally do everything we do with our budget. So I think that efficiency is a great term to describe the budget, even though it produces a tax increase, which seems to counterbalance themselves. But another way I look at it is that you spend a little to save a lot, and that's really what we've got out of this at the end of the day.
Can I just add comments to that?
Yeah.
So Shane, so thanks for the recap there, and just to echo what both of you just said here, but when we went into these union contracts, we did it the right way. As you said, we had the actuarial studies done, so we just didn't guess what the long-term savings were gonna be. What we have to do as council members and future councils have to do is we have to look at those assumption sets, so we're using an actuarial study, and we have to kind of manage to those assumption sets, or that is useless if we don't manage to that assumption set. So, the scary part of this is we're only carrying over 1.5% into 2000 and, at the end of 2019 and 2020. So, as you said, we don't have a whole lot of cushion here. We do offer a lot of services, in hindsight, would have been nice that decades ago we could have managed some of these long-term costs away. Big companies did the same thing, GM, Ford, they got into the same issues with health insurance and stuff. It's nice to cover people until them and their spouse pass away, but it just creates a huge burden on the companies and on the municipalities. It's nice, it's great to take care of your people that way. The pensions, we've been in a low interest rate environment since 2009. That kills pension plans and stuff, and it just increased the cost of it. So, I know you're saying you're hearing the same thing from us you hear from most governments, but it's the truth. Those are things that we can't get away from. It's contractually obligated costs, and yes, did we want to give those pay rate increases and stuff? Not necessarily, but you have to give up something sometimes to get more in the long term and stuff. And while I don't feel great about it, long term, this council did in the last 2 years in those contract negotiations and in these budgets, we did pretty good long term here. Short term, there's gonna be a little bit of pain, but we'll manage it. We have a good bunch of people that work for us, and we have good people on council here, so we'll be able to manage it.
Go ahead, Roy. And I just wanted to echo something that Mr. Dufresne did say. This budget's not just about us sitting here. It's about our, excuse me, it's about our department managers, their personnel. They have input in this. They give us what they feel they need, and then we debate it. And this was the toughest year, I would say, in a budget in the ones that I've been here, and this is my 5th year, where we really went down to every single dollar through every single area and tried to find as much savings and cost where we can. And there were tough choices, and it was tough on the department managers, and we appreciate their time. They were here for those 30 hours as well, and they should, understand that we do value them and we respect their opinions. And it is tough for us to sometimes have to cut some of their items because we know there's a reason they come to us for those. And I want our residents to know that we don't just spend to spend or take anything that, we think might be overzealous for spending. It's all of us pay the taxes as well. Maybe Wes won't anymore, but
I will. I will still own property in the borough, and plenty of it.
Just I thank those individuals and of course my fellow council men and women who put in the time here and put in those long hours. And the one thing is we debate it a lot. We get a little testy. Shane reels us in. He does. He puts in more than those 30 hours is like a week, not even 2 days for him. And we got to thank him as well. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you all, and of course the department personnel.
Anyone else? Well, I was going to say something, but you got, all four of you covered it, and I won't be repetitive, so. Do we have to actually vote to pass the budget?
You have to vote to advertise the budget.
All right, is there a motion to advertise the 2019 budget? Councilman Dufresne, second by Councilman Barrett. Questions, discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
All right, so I have a number of resolutions. These should go significantly quicker. So the first is resolution number 2018-40, the 2019 Delinquent Tax Collection Agency, and I'll place that in the form of a motion.
There's a motion by Councilman Barrett. Is there a second? Councilman Dufresne, questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Next is resolution number 2018-41, and that is to appoint Berkheimer as our tax collector, or as our, no.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it's a tax collector per capita.
Yeah, I know, it's the per capita. Is that the correct? Okay.
There's a motion by Councilman Barrett. Is there a second? Councilman Dufresne, questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Next is resolution number 2018-42, confidentiality resolution. I'll place that in the form of motion.
There's a motion by Councilman Barrett. Is there a second? Councilwoman McManaman, questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Resolution number 2018-43, imposition of costs. I'll place that in the form of motion.
There's a motion by Councilman Barrett. Is there a second? Councilman Dufresne, questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Next is resolution number 2018-44, tax hearing appointment. I'll place that in the form of motion.
Motion by Councilman Barrett, second by Councilman Dufresne. Questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Got a nice rhythm going here, huh?
I know.
All those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
And that should be all the items that we have that require official action. I will report progress.
Thank you, Chairman Barrett, for the last time.
Yes.
Community Relations Planning and Development Committee, Chairwoman McManaman.
We have no official business for tonight. Our next meeting is December 20th. Progress.
Boards and commissions, you have 3 sets of meeting minutes there for your updates. Personal appeals part 2. Does anyone have a personal appeal?
Hi, Ashley Laura with Emmaus Main Street Partners. I apologize for walking in a little bit late, but I'm happy to be here. I'm here to just kind of recap Old Fashioned Christmas and not to be too redundant with what our chair, Aaron DeLong, shared with you all this morning, but thank you guys all for your support. A lot of you attended the event throughout the weekend, so we appreciate that support. And our executive committee and the Old Fashioned Christmas chairs spoke throughout the week and talked about the weather, and then with your recommendation, we decided the best course of action was to move it, and then we appreciate your follow-up action with that, kind of updating the borough. We tried on Facebook, but also with the robocalls and your postings on Facebook and social media. We appreciate your support in that. So with the change of events, we had a couple acts that changed. A lot of entertainment couldn't reschedule, but with that fallout, we also had the opportunity to invite some new acts to come and join us. So we had 2 students from Emmaus High School sing after the tree lighting ceremony, and we also had St. Anne's Children's Choir come. So that was a good opportunity to get a different aspect of the community involved, or a different demographic involved. So we were grateful for that, even though we had to reschedule and a lot fell through. The trolley, unfortunately, canceled on us an hour before the event, so we did our best to kind of bounce around with that, but we were sad that we couldn't provide that to the community, but good learning opportunity for next year. Just to quickly recap the rest of the events, for the Cheers Trail on Saturday, we had 200 people register, which was our max capacity. A couple didn't pick up, but we had a lot of people buzzing around the streets, and we were grateful for the exposure our businesses got with that, as well as Candy Cane Lane Trail, which was our children's trail through the historic sites of town. I've already been emailing with our group today, and they said they were very happy with the turnout, and they also noted that it wasn't just great turnout, but it was very happy and positive people that they were engaging with. So we were grateful that overall the weekend went well. Not to drag it on too long, but just to recap, this is my first professional job out of undergrad and grad school, and this was my first major event that I hosted, so I just want to say thank you for your support in that. It's very stressful, a lot of anxiety around it, but thank you all for being there and being supportive. Just while I have your attention, I'm going to bring up two events we have coming up. So this Friday and Saturday is our first holiday pop-up tree shop. We have a gentleman coming in who sells like fishing lures and makes them into gifts. He doesn't really have a business name, but we're excited to have him here. He's a very sweet gentleman. And then we also have an essential oils vendor as well as Herbines is coming in. So I'm hoping that this will pick up. We're doing a lot on social media to advertise for it. We have a good marketing budget from our vendors. And then also next week, we'll have a ribbon cutting at Laura's Custom Framing and Fine Art. So it's their 2-year anniversary, and it's protocol for the Main Street Partners to do a free ribbon cutting for a new business that joins. So it doesn't necessarily have to be they're opening a business, but we really just want to bring attention and publicity to the downtown, to the borough itself. So that's why we offer that to businesses. We just want a reason to celebrate. So I send a press release out. We do a lot of advertising and marketing for it. So formal invitation to follow, but just wanted to plant that seed in your head.
Hey, just real quick, and I didn't mention it earlier, but, and I know Terry was out, Small Business Saturday seemed like a great day. There was a lot of people here in town. We did some shopping at the bookstore and at the Run-In and a couple of the other businesses. We got lunch, and there was a good buzz. And I know down at your place you had the bags and the handouts, and it seemed like everybody was, moving around. It was a little chilly that day, but it seemed to be really great turnout. So thank you for also being part of that event.
Yeah, I'll add on to that if I can. Events like Small Business Saturday and also Old Fashioned Christmas, while we have our own events and schedule of events, I think it's fun to see how all the other businesses kind of take it and run. And that's the goal, is like we want them to benefit from the events that we host as well. So it's exciting to see like the whole borough comes together to celebrate things like that. So thank you all for coming out for that as well.
Thank you, Miss Ashley. And I ran into you at the Run-In. So a run-in at the Run-In.
Run-In at the Run-In. Run-In and run-in and run-in. I won't say.
You already.
Anyone else? All right, hearing none. Borough Manager's report.
So I have several things. First, the significant revenue and expense report is in your iPad. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to ask. Secondly, the 10th Street culvert, progress is being made. If you've been down there, they have rerouted the water. They have pretty much demoed most of it. So they're moving along. Still can't give you the end date. It's gonna snow soon.
It's going to be a happy new year.
But you know what? It's nice to see that they're making progress. So we're excited about that. Our guys are working on the library roof today and the rest of the week. It should take probably all week. It'll be completed by the end of the week, at least it should be. The pool, as you know, was flooded. We are just getting to that pool right now before the ice does more damage to it. So they drained it out last week. We will be dropping a skid steer down into the main pool to scrape it. That's the only way to do it. So that's how we did it the last flood. So if there's any more damage, we can't put them in an 800,000 gallon pool with snow shovels. We will be putting the skid steer down there. We think that it'll probably take 2 to 3 10-ton dump truck loads of debris out of there. Is how much mud and debris is in there.
What do we do with that?
The deep end of the pool is not completely drained. We're going to try to fish out as much debris as we can, and we may just wait to deal with that in the spring, but we need to get the majority of this stuff out. So they're working on that this week because the freeze is coming. By the end of the week, it's supposed to be in the 20s as a high. So the concern is if we don't get it out now, we're going to have bigger problems. So we're working on that. The last thing that I want to talk about is I'm going to beat Mr. President to the punch and talk about Wes a little bit. I just want to say thank you for everything that you've done during my tenure here. You've always been that voice of reason. You've always talked people down off the cliff, including myself, and it's always been appreciated no matter what side of the aisle you come from. Wes always tried to see both sides of every issue, and I've always appreciated that. And, you know, when you say, you know, you're gonna be part of the community, we know that. We know you'll still be part of the community, and that's one thing that I think I respect most about you is you live and breathe this town, and everything that you do is about this town and this community. And so while it really stinks that we're losing you on council, we know though that you still serve as a great asset to this community, and our employees are going to miss you. I know this council will miss you. I will miss you. I appreciate everything you've done for me, for our employees, and good luck in the new house. I tried everything I could. I really did. Termites, everything to delay
It
it.
took as long as it could, yeah.
But apparently everything I tried. I have one more thing on my sleeve, but it's probably not going to work.
A land swap.
So yeah.
We're just gonna take that part down.
Annexation?
Yeah. But
We'll just do a
again,
lot line adjustment.
Yeah,
you
there we
know.
go. There we go.
yeah. But good luck.
Thank you.
And I hope you enjoy your new house.
Yes, and it was mentioned earlier, and I've told you it many times before, your efforts towards everything that goes on in the borough. I mean, we are a different place because of your efforts specifically. I mean, every person in this room knows how many hours you put over and above what your standard job title is, and that makes a monstrous difference in the success of this town. So I appreciate the thank you, but your efforts are quite
Okay.
significant.
I'll report progress unless you have anything else for me. I'll send it to Jenna and the solicitor.
Okay.
Can I add something real quick to Mr. Barrett's goodbye?
Sure. Well, I'm gonna do under president's business too, so.
Are you?
I
You
just
can
wanted to
save-
beat him to the punch. Since it was my turn to go.
You can save it to him.
I'll wait after you there.
All right. Under president's business, I missed one communication from Lanta, from Joseph Calhoun, the compliance program coordinator. I'm gonna refer that to Jen Ed and the solicitor. All right, with that being said, I get to say my piece now. Might be lengthy, but it's not prepared, so maybe not.
Good.
Well, you all heard my story about how I met Wes through the high school basketball games when he used to DJ. And I'm an avid Hornet fan of basketball and football. I try not to miss any games. And Wes was always there, and just got to talk to him a few times. And one time he came over to the home side, I was there, and what's the line, Wes? What do I always say? Would you be interested in running for council? And what was the answer?
I think I said I had some political aspirations, or what did I say? Something like
Actually,
that.
I do have political aspirations, is exactly what you said. And I never asked you this, but I wondered tonight, will you have one run for council if I wouldn't have never asked you?
Not to steal your thunder, but yes, I mean.
Okay. No, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
I always wondered.
as was stated, I've always, I mean, I live here. I mean, I own a business here. I want.
So it may not have been that year, but eventually you're saying?
It was, yeah. It was a combination of many things. I'll give you a level of credit. I don't want to steal that thunder, but I had much interest in doing it. And,
All right.
yes.
So, Wes, and I never thought of you when you were doing that as a kid. Just so you know, you were a young man at that time, and over the years I've seen you grown. You married your high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to attend your wedding. You have a wonderful family now, 2 young boys that are keeping you busy
Yes.
with many activities, as they should, and you have a thriving business here in town. What I will remember your contributions to this council, the 3 things I will remember, and the first and foremost is bringing this technology where you can put meetings online for people to see. We were the first in the Lehigh Valley, and it's because of Wes. He made it happen. I had the idea, but you made it happen. You made it happen because you have the technology and the knowledge. So that's the first thing I will remember you for. The second thing is your contributions towards the Emmaus Homestead Trail. You moved that forward. I think I don't know if you were mostly responsible, but you were highly responsible for moving that forward and getting the land swap so that we could have that trail. Maybe some of you don't know, but there was a landowner that owned all that, and we swapped some of our land up kind of behind where the soccer field is, the upper soccer field, to get that piece of land along the railroad so we could have a trail that connects over to the Wildlands Conservancy, the South Mountain Preserve. Wes had a lot to do with that, so I will remember you for that. And third will be the Halloween race, which I participated, I think, in the first 9.
At least, yeah.
I believe my whole family participated, well, not my wife, she's not a runner. So my kids and I participated in the first 9. So I will remember you for that, and I also am thankful that you contribute back to the commissions and the various causes here in the borough. So greatly appreciate that. As far as contributing your voice of reason, as Shane says, you brought me down many times when I was, 'cause I get a little passionate sometimes, and sometimes
A little.
I'm a little over, I kick it up a notch or two. And then Wes comes in with this even keel voice, and it just brings you back down and adds a calmness to the council, and I will miss that. Biggest surprise from you that I didn't expect is, and